The National Day of France, 14th July, or the Bastille, or the Revolution of France in the year of 1789. So I'm gonna give you the story, just give me your ears. So there was a king called King 16, or Louis XVI. The French society was divided into three parts: the tiers d'état and nobility and clergy. We have the third estate, the nobility, and the clergy. Farmers and the people who just used to do their businesses. Secondly, we have the nobility group that used to be near the king. And finally, we have the clergy group that used to represent the smaller population, the people who used to pray or just linked to church. And so the clergy and the nobility group, they had privileges that these people used not to pay taxes or little taxes. And the third group is the tiers d'état group that used to pay many taxes, to that the harvests in their fields were poor and the people found themselves in poverty. The third group got fed up of the situation, and now the kingdom also went bankrupt, and then the king starts to sense something, that maybe there is a problem with people. So now the king calls an estate general and asks the French to draw up lists of grievances. You may ask yourself, what is a grievance book? The grievance book is a notebook in which the French used to write down their complaints and requests. Naturally, the third group demanded for the end of privileges for the nobility and the clergy group. Remember, I told you the clergy group and the nobility group, these are the people that used to be near the king. So on 5th May of 1789, the Estates General opened with the representatives of the third group. They opened a constitution that they will be able to write that everyone pays the same tax. The clergy group, the nobility group, and the echtasi. But the king's priority was to save money, not to write a constitution. The clergy and the nobility group also didn't want to give down their privileges. The third group also didn't get satisfied, so they now created an oath that they are now not separating until they are given a constitution. And so a few days later, the king gave in and really asked the clergy group and the nobility group to join the third estate, because now the kingdom was going to perish. So they declared themselves as the National Assembly, which now gave power to the nation and no longer to the king. This was the end of the absolute monarchy. But the King Louis XVI was not happy with the situation, because he now wanted the National Assembly to obey him, which was impossible. Then he brought the soldiers to Versailles. So when the Parisians and the deputies saw this, they got terrified. So they now revolt and storm the Bastille to take the weapons. The great storming of the Bastille took place on the 14th of July, 1789, which is today, the 14th of July, 2025, as we are celebrating that day. This was now marked as the national holiday that is celebrated in France, where one can see in particular the parade on the Champs-Élysée. You may ask yourself, what is Champs-Élysée? Champs-Élysée, this is a truly lovely avenue. I've ever witnessed this. It's nearly 2 kilometers in length, runs from the place of the Road to the Arc de Triomphe. This place is very nice. It's very big, very big. This is where the soldiers or the army go for assembly parade on the national days. So now this is the Bastille Day. Bastille was a prison, if I'm trying to recall well. Bastille was a prison where the king imprisoned everyone that was against his law. So to put now the end on this anger, now the deputies voted for the abolition of the privileges. 3 weeks later, the deputies voted for the Declaration of the Rights of Man and the Citizens, which is now an important text to which all the duties of French are specified, and in particular that everyone is now equal. So now the king was caught escaping. Someone saw him and then brought him back. He was now guillotined or killed in the place of the revolution in Paris in January 21st, 1793. His head was cut off in front of everyone because now they voted, and the people who wanted him to be killed were the majority, which were 380. The people who didn't want were 310. And these were his last words. Gentlemen, I'm innocent of every charge laid against me. I hope that my blood may seal the happiness of the French people, those citizens.